Welcome in. Good morning. Y'all, I'm fired up, okay? Like, so much happened yesterday that I want to touch on today in this short segment. I know I said that these segments are typically going to be 15 to 20 minutes, but the way I'm feeling this morning, the way that I have so much just bubbling up on to say on the inside of me, this might actually end up being a little bit longer than 20 minutes. So if it ends up being longer than 20 minutes, please bear with me, y'all. Honestly, it's just been a crazy time, a really, really crazy time, and God has been speaking so boldly in my life, um, you know, since this month started. So it's been crazy revelation, and I want to go ahead and dive in, but I do want to give it just a few more seconds. I'll give it probably about 20 more seconds for people to come in and whatnot. And as you come in, please just, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. Likes are free, and invite a friend because you never know who this might be for. These are literally just from my life, from things that God puts in my spirit. I don't research, what I'm going to talk about. I just literally go with the flow and whatever I feel the yearning to talk about. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, but I have to give some backstory. So, if you guys have been keeping up with my channel, if you guys have been keeping up with my videos, in the last few videos, particularly live streams, I've said that you don't want to ignore that gut feeling that you have. A lot of us, we're waiting for God to give us some audible, conclusion or clarity or something like that. But it's like, one, He gives us the clarity in His Word. And a lot of times the Holy Spirit literally like works in us, where you just feel that yielding, you feel that like conviction, you feel that feeling that you just can't shake. Never ignore that feeling that you can't shake. Even if in the natural realm, it looks like nothing is wrong, it looks like everything is perfectly fine, there's no reason for you to feel some type of way. But when that gut feeling gets to going and you can't really put your finger on it, you're like, there's no reason why I should feel this type of way. There's a reason why you should feel that type of way. It's not in the natural, it's in the spiritual. Like I said, it's the Holy Spirit letting you know something in the milk ain't clean, okay? And I'm going to try to say this because everything came to a head for me yesterday. Like, everything came to a head yesterday. So for the past few months, I've had this feeling, right? Like this gut feeling that I just can't shake. And I'm like, why can't I shake this? And it was about a particular situation. Oh, you've been on my channel? I don't know why YouTube keeps doing that. Hey, Yasmin. It like has a lag, like a delay, but I'm glad you're here now. So needless to say, the past few months, I've had this feeling that I just can't shake about a particular person and situation. I also made the disclaimer that this might be a little bit longer than 20 minutes because I got a lot to get off my chest today for what happened yesterday. But, just bear with me if it ends up being a little longer than 20 minutes. But, needless to say, I just felt this. And in the natural realm, it's like there was nothing to really be concerned about. It's like, okay, everything's checking out. This person's saying the right things. Everything looks well in the situation. There's nothing to really worry about. Or anything like that. YouTube is very trashy about the lives and making them accessible. So it's like, why am I feeling this way? But when I tell you this feeling could not be shaken. And I was like, God, like, what is it? Is it this? Is it that? And nothing was coming up. Yesterday, everything came to a head, y'all, where literally all the feelings that I felt showed why I was feeling them in this particular situation. And basically it just blew up in my face. And so that's why I'm like, a lot of you guys might be in a season right now where that there's something you shouldn't do. That there's someone you shouldn't talk to, or a business opportunity you shouldn't take, or a job you shouldn't take, or whatever, but you don't really know why. But it's just you have this feeling. And like I said, in the natural realm, everything looks fine. It's like all systems are go, we're good to go. But inside, you're like, I don't know why I just feel this way. Like your spidey sense is like, something's off here. And I want you guys to pay attention to that. Don't look at just the natural. Don't look at like, okay, this looks good or this looks bad or this or that. Like, really get into the feeling as to why you've been feeling that. If you're like me and you've been feeling that for a couple of months, like, I don't know who this is for, but I know it's for somebody. If you've been feeling that way for a couple of months and you've been trying to convince yourself of otherwise, you've been trying to convince yourself that maybe you're crazy, maybe you're reading too deep into it, you're trying to give the benefit of the doubt for that situation, that person, that opportunity, whatever, I need you to pay attention to that feeling, because it is like the rubber is going to meet the road. It did for me yesterday, and I was just at a shock, a loss for words. I was like, what in the world? Like, don't ignore that. Don't ignore those gut feelings, because the Holy Spirit is always is always speaking to us, and God is always speaking to us. Like they're always letting us know, like, okay, should you go here? Should you do that? Should you do this? Should you do that? But we have to be in tune. We have to be the ones listening, and we have to be ready to receive that. And if you are not receiving it, you could be missing the blaring red flags. Also, another thing is, I want you guys to stop trying to prove yourself to people that are committed to misunderstanding you. A lot of people out here are committed to misunderstanding you. They will literally have you questioning yourself. They will have you questioning your own abilities. They will have you questioning your own mind. They will have you questioning, maybe I should have did this, maybe I should have did that. The minute you get to that point where you start questioning yourself over and over again, I need you to get out. Like, that's God letting you know, go ahead and leave. Don't keep entertaining that. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. You don't have to prove that you're a good person. You don't have to prove that your intentions are well. You don't have to prove anything. If people can't even remember what you did for them, or they fail to acknowledge the type of person that you are, let it go. Like, it's not your job to convince people. And a lot of us, we get stuck in this holding pattern because it's like, I want them to see it, I want them to acknowledge it. They know good and well what you did for them. They know good and well the type of friend you were. They know good and well the type of spouse you were. If heaven forbid you're going through a marital breakup right now, they know good and well what you've done for them. They know good and well how much you care about them. But they fail to acknowledge it, or they don't want to acknowledge it. Not even that they fail to, they don't want to acknowledge it because in their mind, it's not worth acknowledging. It's not good enough. You'll never be good enough in that area. So I need you guys to stop trying to prove yourself, okay? Like, God didn't create you to be on this earth to be proving yourself to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Like, there's, the people that are for you are going to understand that, and your tribe is going to understand that, and they're going to resonate with you. But the more that you try to force a situation, the more that you try to prove yourself, the more that you try to have your way, the more you're going against those, like that, like I said, those warnings, those red flags that God is showing you, the Holy Spirit is showing you all along. That's why you have those feelings. That's why you can't shake that. If you have a decision to make and you're like, I really just don't feel like I should make the decision that everybody's telling me I should make, like, you need to go with your gut. Go with your gut. A lot of us get to a point where we start suppressing our intuition. We start suppressing, like, what the Holy Spirit is telling us. Sorry if I don't read your comments in time because I'm on my phone again, and so the comments like come up really quick and then disappear. But yes, like, if you're putting notes, thank you guys, man. But it's like, you really have to you have to let it go. Like I said, I had this feeling for months. I had it for months, and it's like, I don't know what it was. I really didn't know what it was, and I'm like, God, like, what in the world? This is making no sense. Why am I feeling this way? And everything was like, boom. Yesterday and last night, it was like, boom. This is why you were feeling this way. And I'm just grateful for God's timeliness. A lot of us are crying and we're upset about what we lost and who we lost and why did it have to end this way and how come they don't appreciate me and this and that, or how come I had to lose that thing and so and so didn't have to lose theirs. And let it go, because literally it's like that saying says, rejection is God's protection, or even, I don't even know if this is a saying, but it's just the whole sentiment of like, we're holding on to things that we think we need because our faith that God has better is lacking. So when that opportunity comes, it's like, oh, I gotta snatch it and hold on to it. I can't let it go because I might not get this again. I might not get something better than this even. When that relationship opportunity comes along, you snatch it, you hold on to it. You're like, I gotta hold on to this. I won't ever get anybody as decent as this or as good as this. And that's a lie from the enemy. Like, that is not the best that God has for you. You probably are settling in the first place, or you probably have outgrown that situation or that place or that thing. So it's like, you're holding on to it because yes, you had good times with that person or in that place or in that opportunity or whatever. Yes, there are good memories attached to it. Yes, it got you through some dark nights or some, pivotal parts in your life or whatever. But it's time for you to let that go, because the more that you hold on to that, the less that you'll be able to be available for what God really wants to bless you with, for where God is really taking you, And let me be clear, better doesn't always mean bigger, newer, more expensive, whatever. Better means you get more peace. Better means that it pushes you into your purpose. Better means that it encourages you or it sharpens you. So it brings to light maybe some things that you need to work on, but because of it, you become a stronger person. You become wiser. You become closer to God. Whatever the case is, but it's like better doesn't always mean, okay, you had a 5,000 square foot house and now you're going to get a 10,000 square foot house. Maybe you might get another 5,000 square foot house, but guess what? That house is now going to be within your budget. That house is not going to give you the sleepless nights because you're ripping and running trying to, pay rob Peter to pay Paul, and you're a slave to your house because you can't even enjoy it because you're working so hard. Peace is better might mean more peace in your relationships. Better might mean that, instead of you having to prove yourself to this guy or prove yourself to this girl, because I know I have some guys that watch my channel and you're trying to show them that you're a good catch. And yes, I do love you. I do care about you. I do want to be here for you. And you're doing all of the things. You're supportive. You're listening. You're patient. You're understanding. You're doing all of these things and you're not even getting that in return. You're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. And the whole time you're like, God, like, I kind of want this for me, but I really care about this person. They don't appreciate it. Better might mean that you meet the person that really appreciates it. Better might mean that you meet that person that for once they pour into you. They pour into you so much you don't even know how to receive it because you're used to always giving. You're used to always being there for people. You're used to being around selfish people. Let's just call it what it is. Selfish people that always want you to give because they see your heart. They see that you're caring. They see that you're loving. They see that you love people. And they want to bleed you dry out of your compassion. They want to bleed you dry out of your empathy and out of your heart for people and your love for people. So better might mean that that person loves you how you've been praying to be loved. And you're so overwhelmed you don't even know how to receive it, but you're just grateful. Better might mean that you're not doubting yourself anymore. So you're in this opportunity. Maybe it's a business opportunity. It comes along and you're like, I don't know if I should take this or whatever. Better might not mean that you're going to make 6 figures a month. It might mean that maybe for once you're actually in a field, in a lane where you get to use your gifts, what God gifted you to do, where you get to actually do what you wanted to do. Maybe you've been wanting to do this, but you got sidetracked because, again, life called. You had to get a job. You had to do whatever. Like, you had to do what you had to do to keep food on the table, and your ministry or your business or your passions got pushed to the side. And now it's like, okay, and maybe I lost this job. Maybe I had a gut feeling that they were going to let me go. I felt it. I saw it in the air. The tension was thick. The elephant was in the room. I knew it was coming, but I was trying to ignore it. I was trying to hold on. I was trying to prove that I'm worth keeping. They don't want to let me go. I'm their best employee. This, that, the third. And God is like, no, you've outgrown this. Like, it's time for you to go because it's time for you to finally get back to your first love and your purpose and your passions and whatever I created you to do in this earth. It's time for you to get back to that because you being here in this position in this company is keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stagnant. Like, you're not able to do what I need you to do. Maybe it's a new position that allows you to do both, where they're more understanding, where they're more, able to work with you so that you can really pour into your ministry because you know that you have this thing burning up inside of you and you're like, God, like, this needs to get out. Like, I need the world to see this. I need the world to receive this. Like, you put this in my heart and in my mind. Why would you put it and I don't get to use it? Like, what's going on? And he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna get you a new position where, yeah, maybe you lost some hours. Maybe you went from 40-hour weeks to 20-hour weeks. Yes, you're feeling the physical ramifications of that. Your paychecks are smaller. You're wondering how you're going to be able to survive. But God is like, if you trust me and you listen, then I got that blessing for you. You don't have to worry. Like, I'm not going to leave you forsaken. I'm not going to leave you begging for bread. I'm not going to leave you destitute. Like, again, one of my favorite scriptures is Matthew 6:25-33. And it's like a constant reminder, like, if God takes care of the world, like the birds, they just get up, they just fly, they eat, they do what they're doing, whatever it is, they don't worry. Like, why are you worried? Yes, I know that the ends are not meeting, y'all. I remember like a couple years ago, my mom and I were just sitting talking about like memories of us growing up and stuff like that. And for those of you who don't know, I grew up really poor. Like, but if you looked on the outside looking in, you wouldn't have guessed that. Honestly, I'm shocked that we were even able to live the way that we lived because of what my parents made. When my mom told me how much they made, it was like maybe 25,000 a year or something like that, 30,000 a year for a family of 5. and they were immigrants. They didn't, become citizens until the 90s. So it's just like, there was a lot that they couldn't do because they weren't citizens. And so we really were struggling. We don't have a lot of family here that we can reach out to. And when I say here, I mean in this country, that we can reach out to and be like, hey, like, can you help with this or that? So it was literally us against the world. And when I tell you that we lived a great life, considering we were always in a safe neighborhood, maybe the apartment might not have been the best, like the actual structure, but we were in a safe neighborhood. We always have food to eat. We got to travel, okay, because like I said, our family's overseas, most of them. So, we had to travel to see them. We were able to do all these different things on $30,000 a year for a family of five. Like, and when we sat and thought about it, it's like, how are we able to do that? Because God is the reason why we were able to do it. If my dad and my mom were sitting here trying to make all ends meet, and don't get me wrong, they worked hard. Like, we still have a responsibility to work, to labor and to produce fruit and whatnot so that we can survive. But my mom and dad, their faith in God, it's like, they knew that they would be taken care of, regardless of what the situation looked like, regardless of what their income was like. We were living a good life, y'all. Like, we were not missing meals. We were not eating like junk food either. We were eating good, hearty food. We were traveling. I went to private school my whole life. I never went to a public school. I went to private school my whole life. All of that, it doesn't make sense. Like, how did the ends meet? Because God made the ends meet. So it's like, for those of you who are out here and you're trying to hold on to that old situation, or you're trying to figure it out on your own, let it go. That's why you have that feeling. That's why you have that good feeling. That's why it's like, why isn't this making sense? Like, I don't feel comfortable in this. I don't have peace. I'm lacking peace. I'm doing all that I can do, and I'm still not seeing the fruit. God has had me in a sit down season since August, and I don't know when I'm gonna come back full force, honestly, just from revelations that I'm getting during this fast that I'm doing right now. And if y'all are doing it with me, I would love to hear your testimonies throughout the month and stuff like that. But just in this fast this month, y'all, God is speaking. Like, when I tell you, I had that gut feeling for months. The minute I start fasting and I really like dive into a deeper realm, it's like, boom, everything just comes to light. Like, if you listen, if you pay attention, it's right there in front of you. God is telling you what you are asking him to tell you or to confirm or whatever, but you just have to have your eyes open. You have to be willing to receive it. And it's not, and probably it's not going to be what you want to hear, because what came to a head yesterday was not what I wanted to hear. I had a feeling it had to happen, but I didn't want it to happen because I was tired of it happening. I was tired of going back to the drawing board. I was tired of always having to, dust myself off and get myself back together. But you know what? God was like, okay, you're not going to listen. I'm going to have to just go ahead and let this happen and unfold so that you can get back to what I need you to get back to, because there's more waiting for you. There's better waiting for you. A lot of what God has been revealing to me during this time, these past few months, and particularly since, like I said, October started, I know exactly how things are going to look going forward. And some things I'm not coming back to. Some things, that was it. That was it for that season. It was great. I know a lot of people are going to miss it. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why aren't you doing this? That's done. Like, that season for that is done. So I have to be obedient. Even though it doesn't make sense, I have to be obedient. I have to do what God is telling me to do so that I can continue living in purpose, because it's not about me. These platforms are not about me. It's about God. It's about what he's telling me to do. Everything I do is from the Spirit. It's from what I feel led to do. So if I don't feel led to do it, or if God is very clear, like, nah, it's time to go, then it's time to go, But needless to say, that was the bulk of what I wanted to tell y'all. This actually ended up being shorter than I thought. But, which is fine, because I didn't want to keep y'all all day, because these are supposed to be short anyway. But needless to say, my 2 points for this, and I hope it wasn't all over the place, because like I said, there's so much going on in my mind right now from what happened that it's just lesson learned. But the main point is, one, stop trying to prove yourself to people that are committed to misunderstanding you. So you're trying to have a sit down, you're trying to reason, you're trying to talk, you're trying to come to a common ground, you're trying to do all this stuff. They don't want to hear it. They're literally committed to their perception of you, and they feel like they're accurate in that. Let them think that. It's not your job to convince people of who you are. They either see it or they don't. And if they don't see it, or they act like they don't because they good and well do see it, that's their problem. But trust and believe, they're going to regret what they did to you as a friend or a lover or whatever. They're going to regret it, because they know deep down the type of person you were. You went into it with a sincere heart, with, a genuine heart, and they just were committed to misunderstanding you. They robbed you of that opportunity or whatever it was. Like, just don't even hold it against them. Forgive them, pray for them, and move on, because you got too much waiting ahead for you to be worried about people that literally just are committed to misunderstanding you. You know, like they're not gonna understand you. You can try to have all the sit down talks if you want. You could try to reason with them, but you can't expect you out of other people. That's literally one of the craziest things you could do, is to expect you out of other people. You can sit down and have a conversation and be logical. You could sit down and be mature. You could sit down and face, you know, your demons or whatever. Everybody can't do that. And if they can't do that, that's not your responsibility to try to teach them how to do it. They need to figure that out. You know, like I said, you pray for them, you can offer resources, and that's that. And the other thing is to don't ignore that gut feeling. Like, don't ignore the gut feeling that you get, that feeling that you've had about that thing or that person or that place, that thing or whatever for a while, and you're like, okay, everything looks fine in the natural. Why am I feeling this way? Don't ignore that. I need you to tap into that, and I need you to take heed. Like, you know, take heed. It's definitely letting you know about something, but ultimately, don't hold on either to things that are just done. Like, they're done. God's got better for you. Like I said, your best days are ahead of you. They're not behind you. But you have to trust that God has better. You might not see it right now, but it will come. It will come. You know, think about your life right now. Like, you're living an answered prayer. There were things that you're living out right now that you prayed about at one point in time. And you thought maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't come to pass, but you're living it out right now. So it's like, it will come to pass. Like, God's will be done. God does have better for you. And like I had mentioned earlier, better doesn't always mean materialistic. Better could just mean more peace, better sleep at night, more confidence, you know, better faith, like just in a better mental state. Because a lot of us, we're driving the cars, we're wearing the clothes, we have the house, we have all this stuff, but we're broken inside. You're broken. You know, you can't face your demons. You can't face the hurt that you had. You're holding on to unforgiveness. You're just losing sleep at night. Like, you're all over the place because you're working on the external. You're worried about the external instead of working on the internal and saying, God, like, renew me. Wash me from the inside out. Like, renew my heart. Renew my mind. Like, change it around. Turn it around for me, Lord. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I have for y'all this morning. I hope, like I said, that this is helpful. I'll probably try to break this up into smaller shorts or something, just so, you know, you can get the nuggets that you need to get. But I hope it was helpful and it wasn't all over the place, because I'm just flowing. And even still, there's a lot that I can think about that I want to say. I don't even know where to begin, because I'm coming out of this revelation. Like, I'm literally still processing it in my own life. So I'm like, woo, this is a lot. This is a lot. But thank you guys for joining me. You know, remember what I said. And feel free to like this video. Like I said, if you were here, give the video a thumbs up, share it out with some people to motivate them. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the live stream. Okay, so have a good Wednesday. I'll see y'all later. Bye.